Okay, so it's about a week and a half since I bought my Cannon L. As someone noted in the previous comments, currently the Cannon L is the top specification in New Zealand, although I have heard from the dealership recently that they are going to be bringing in the Cannon X, which I believe is the top of the line model in Australia. Someone has also commented that in China there's even a model or two above that. So, but anyway, mine's a Model L, which is the top of the line for New Zealand. Just a number of people have asked me what are the tyres and wheels. Well, just for your information, they are 265/50 R22. As you can see there, road terrain Lenzo wheels, pretty smart in my opinion. And obviously the blackout pack. So I guess the key question everyone's probably thinking right now is, okay, so you've had the car a week and a half, what are your thoughts? Okay, so there's a couple of things I would note that are probably, going to be minor frustrations. As you can see here on the back, there's two air vents and a power socket and a USB, which is pretty amazing because a lot of the top line other sort of much more expensive models don't even have that. There's obviously the airbags and everything back here, which is great, but one little thing that I can't quite understand they didn't think about was the cup holder in the middle of the seat here, or the armrest that comes down with the cup holder in it, because that would have been super helpful. My younger boy always sits in the back there with his drink in that cup holder, but in the doors you've got cup holders, but they really aren't very big. Like it can fit like sort of like a soft drink can, but even like a Monster or a Red Bull can that's like a larger size, if that's your thing, isn't really fitting that well there. So that's a bit frustrating. There are things like, all the plastics along here are pretty tough, not like you'd see probably in a German Amarok or something like that. But then you got all the spongy stuff down here, which is quite nice. There is actually plenty of leg room back here. I'm 6'1". This is my driving position, and if I was to hop in here, I don't have amazing camera skills, so it's hard to do and talk at the same time and show you what it looks like, but I fit there quite comfortably. There's plenty of headroom. Got the good headrests here, so that's great. What other issues have I had? Okay, so I've had I had a issue pretty early on with my tire pressure sensor. It was telling me that my tire over this side, my tire on the left hand side wasn't running at the right PSI, or there might be an issue, but apparently the sensor was just a little bit twitchy, and as the tires have worn in and heated up and the like, it's kind of come right. Okay, we'll see how that progresses, but a bit worrying when you see a tire pressure sensor come on within your first sort of few hundred kilometers. Definitely going to need these mud flaps down here. I've got some on order from China, so Alibaba Express, so I'll get those installed pretty quick, and that will stop me from flicking up mud everywhere. I did actually happen to go across a bit of a paddock the other day, and it just had mud everywhere. I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do. The back here, I'm thinking about getting a roller lid. I don't know. Right now it's not too much of an issue, but be worth looking at. One other thing I have noticed is that the rear lights, when you're reversing at night, aren't super powerful, or maybe I've just got a setting on my reverse camera not quite figured out properly. As far as from a driving position, I love the driving position. I definitely wish I had the steering wheel able to reach a little bit further out to give me a slightly better driving position, but it's not enough for me to be super upset about. Loving the screen, the big infotainment screen. A lot of the dials and knobs, they work, but there's some strange things, like you can't adjust the volume if you have the turn signal on. Let me try and show you that. Okay, so let me just close the door. So if I turn the car on, you got to put your foot on the brake. Let's get all the muddy marks on the screen. So it takes a second to just turn the screen on. Okay, here we go. So one of the interesting ones is, I really love it actually, is I've got the setting on so that I can, see, just a moment. If I'm wanting to, let me, I'll turn that down for now. Okay, so if I'm wanting to turn a corner and it indicates, so it's obviously like a European car or an American car, China car obviously, you indicate using the left hand stalk. So when I indicate, it brings up the camera and shows me the view of me if I put myself into drive. Oh, sorry, gotta hold down the button. It shows me actually what's going to happen in my turn, which is great, but I can't, if I've got my car in park, I can't actually adjust the volume, which is just one of those little painful things. It's just kind of weird. So let me just put myself back in park. Let me get myself out of. There's just other things like the car never remembers if I was on auto air conditioning when I left the car, so I kind of have to push that button every time I get in. I mean, there's no denying the 360 camera is super amazing and impressive, as it are all the other controls. And just so you know, I've just kind of got double-sided tape to put my garage door opener here. Just that seemed the most obvious place. The actual infotainment system isn't as slick as something you'd find in some of the more developed vehicles as far as the interface and just kind of navigating it, but the overall functionality is really impressive. There's just a huge amount of functions here. You got your Apple CarPlay. Obviously my phone's not plugged in, but you got all these settings. Like, honestly, I haven't gone through them all yet. The dealer kind of just set them up for me for what he thought would be the most general settings, so I haven't yet found anything that I'd be like, I need to go in and change that. These massive vents, which are great. The steering wheel, well, the steering wheel's got everything on it, but it's, once again, it's not as intuitive as I probably would have expected. Obviously, in a higher grade model, you've got some buttons down here. I don't know what they would be used for, but must be some more functions they can add here. The pedals, you know, and the gearbox, it's an amazing gearbox. It's super, yeah, it's super quick. You know, I don't feel the shifts. You know, for those of you who haven't seen this before, so if you want to go into reverse, you got to hold down the plug and push it there, and then, you know, put you in reverse with the reverse camera. Likewise, if you want to go into drive, you got to hold this down, you got to put it forward. Otherwise, if you just do this, nothing actually happens. You've got to hold this. If you want to go into park, you just push park. It automatically puts on the automatic brake, and you can just hop out, turn off the car and hop out, and it's already in park brake. The little center screen here, it's good. Actually, probably one of the things I would say is, just gonna turn this off. Apologies, I need to be a bit more structured in my presentation. There, a lot of these buttons down here don't actually have backlights on them that you can see in the day, so you don't know whether they're activated, but they are actually on the screen. But one of the things that I've noticed that's probably the most obvious is the ride quality. So the ride quality is a bit sort of rough by comparison to, I used to have an Amarok, so that did just drive like a car, but it was also twice the price. So I think that there's work to be done on the suspension, and I'm interested in looking at some aftermarket solutions for that. I've got a couple of parts coming from China. I've got the window sort of side guards to just help with wind if you have the window down. I've got some upgraded lights down the bottom coming, some LED ones. I got just a few bits and pieces just to kind of add a bit of to upgrade a bit. Yeah, so the suspension's probably the one where some work's needed. The throttle control can be a little bit titchy, but other than that, oh, and there's a few things like just the lane keep assist. I'll try to figure out somehow to do a video when I'm driving the thing. The lane keep assist definitely probably is a little bit aggressive, in that it's a bit, yeah, it pulls the steering wheel quite a bit, but actually you get used to it really quick. So I'm kind of, yeah, I'm not super worried about that particular one. But yeah, that's kind of my 10 days in review. Overall, still super impressed, loving the fact that I paid bugger all by comparison, you know, considering that this cost me less than a second-hand Ford Ranger with half the tech, and it's brand new. It just blows my mind. If you're considering a GWM and you're on a budget, or you just don't like spending more money than you have to, then I gotta say, this is pretty hard to beat, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of aftermarket upgrades coming through in the near future to work on things like the suspension. I'm sure software upgrades will come to work on things like the you know, the sort of more aggressive lane keep assist. But guys, incredible package. Happy to take any questions, and I'll try and figure out a way to do like a review of the system while I'm driving, so you can kind of see that in a bit more real time. Take care.